What's up, guys? My name is Jermain, and welcome back to a brand new episode of It's Not That Deep. What are y'all mad about today? Me? Couple of things. Thank you so much for asking. First thing that I'm mad about, this is the second time I've sat here to record this podcast episode. I'm still going through ebbs and flows with my setup. And I tried this whole new thing. I went out to Best Buy and bought a product that was very expensive to set up. I set it up and I, got to recording and I record the entire episode. And then I get up and I look at my monitor because I had turned the monitor off just to save some bandwidth on my MacBook to keep it from just like running hot or using too much CPU. So I get up, I look at the camera, and my camera turned off. I guess it overheated. So I had like 10 minutes worth of video, and the rest was just random audio and a no input found screen. So here we are for the second time to record this episode, but that's all right because I believe that I have a very big habit in life of doing things twice and like completely acing them the second time. So let's just hope that that's what this is, and we're going to have a great episode. The second thing I'm mad about, phone ringers. I don't understand. So I'm very upset and overstimulated today because my phone rang. My phone has chronically been on silent, mostly D&D, but always silent for years. I hate a text tone. I hate a ringtone. I hate an email tone, a notification, any type of sound that comes from the phone that I'm not intending to play. I don't want to hear it. But I was just out of town and I had my ringer on so, I can communicate around the city, and I must have forgot to turn it off. So I was like doing something important and my phone rang, and I kind of like, my body took a screenshot a little bit. Damn, how did you get here? Hello? I don't even think I answered the phone because I was too overstimulated. But if that was you, I'm gonna call you back. I promise you, I'm gonna call you back. I just couldn't do it. But anyway, those are the things I'm mad about today. What are you mad about? Let me know. We can talk about it. Other than that, we're gonna talk about dieting today, and not the type of diet that you're thinking about. We're gonna talk about a different type of dieting, the mental diet. Right? Okay. We talk so much about physical fitness, right? Healthy eating, dieting, all of that. But mental diets are wild right now, if I do say so myself. Like all of the negativity, the doom scrolling, the constant comparison, the toxic self-help TikToks pretending to be therapy, like there needs to be an Ozempic for your mind, like something to help you lose all that extra weight that you've been carrying around in your frontal lobe. I gotta be for real. But seriously, like, I don't know, but I got something to say about it. And we'll start, like, I remember telling my therapist about what I call the rabbit hole, right? That mental place you go to when everything sucks. It's when you're scrolling your fourth app in a row, the algorithm thinks you're clinically unwell, and your dinner is like a family-sized bag of chips. And it sounds like me gaslighting myself into thinking I'm fine. And she goes, okay, rabbit hole, right? But what does life look like when you're not in that? Didn't know what to say. Like, that question really knocked me sideways. And that's because, like, I could name all of the signs that I was spiraling, right? Got that down to a T, but I never really stopped to name what my best looks like, or even think about how I would describe it if someone would ask me. I didn't prepare for that type of interview question. How do you answer that in the STAR method? I don't know. But I never stopped to think or to name what my best looked like. So I had to stop and think about myself, and not the perfect version, or whatever I like to call that, but just the one that's nourished, right? The one that's cared for, fed right. And when I started to answer, it wasn't really anything crazy. It was like, I don't know, like I'm eating clean and I'm moving my body. I'm creating stuff that feels good. I'm praying in the morning. I'm meditating. I've got my skin routine in check. And the only content like I'm really consuming is, food videos, lifestyle vlogs, and the occasional TED talk. But, in other words, I'm feeding myself well. But when I'm in the rabbit hole, I'm living on doom scrolls and Doritos. And that's what today's episode is about. Doom scrolls and Doritos, and what it means for your mental health and why you should change your diet. Who knew you were signing up for another dieting infomercial? Which, pause for a second. Do y'all remember? I always say, like, I can remember when the whole like weight loss and dieting whole like gimmick and like shtick like started in like America. Like it was like the early 2000s, like 2002 or 3. And I blame like Slim Fast for it. Like I remember all those Slim Fast commercials, like Slim Fast and then Dr. Oz. Like I feel like those are the two to blame for like this whole culture around just like toxic weight loss practices and crash dieting. Like this was all manufactured. I'm talking too much. Let's stick to what we're here for today. Doom scrolling and Doritos. If you're listening in the government, I didn't say anything. You can't prove it. But the truth is, what you feed your mind shapes your world. And that's where I want to dive. Like, let's deep dive into that. Yes, absolutely, pun intended. Let's deep dive into it. The rabbit hole, of course. We want to start there. So let's start with the rabbit hole. And I call it that because once you're in it, it's really hard to tell how far down you've truly gone until you're fully in the dark. And then honestly, the rabbit hole is comfortable. It's peaceful in a twisted way, of course. Because down there, I get to give up on myself without guilt. I get to sit in my mess and not try. I've got unlimited snacks and Netflix, and no one's expecting me to win at anything. I'm just here. And like, that's so great, right? Like living in that self-pity with no one invited. Like this is a pity party of one. But we're not treating it like that. We're just like, scrolling, binging, food and television, scale screaming at you from the bathroom, please stop, please stop. So what else do you do? What else could help that? I mean, like a double fish fillet, fried hard, extra cheese, extra sauce, pickles, ketchup, shredded lettuce, large fry, orange iced, insomnia cookies, confetti only. 7 seasons of a show, 18 episodes each season, lounging in bed. Like it's a damn recovery room from life. But here's the thing. I only do all of that when I'm at my lowest, right? When I'm in my head, when I'm depressed and I'm like, literally life is beating me like I stole something from it. But when I'm at my best, I wouldn't even dream of eating a double. A single? Maybe. But a double with extra sauce? It's kind of insane. But like, if y'all only knew the life that I've lived, there was a many days where it was just like me and that drive-thru worker against the world. Like I remember a point in my life where like I walked in my favorite restaurants and they knew who I was. And that's not like some sort of like small town, like everybody knows everybody. Like, no, it's just like Wingstop knew I was coming every day around 5:30 after I got off of work if I was opening that day. And I was getting a 10-piece Louisiana rub and hickory smoked barbecue with a ranch and a large drink. And that became an issue because how do y'all already know? Like Wingstop should not know what you're coming in there to order. Like they should not know that. Panda Express should not know my order. Panera doesn't even like Panera workers don't even talk to you barely. And they knew me and they knew my order. Like, yes, I want another one of those lemon cookies. I could go for one right now, but that's not because I'm in a bad spot mentally. It's because they're really good. But that's what my life looks like when I'm in that rabbit hole. The rabbit hole is rock bottom for me, even if you can't see it from the outside, because I might be functioning, right? I'm smiling. I'm happy on the outside, but in my mind, I'm curled up at the bottom of a pit with a disassembled ladder, just looking crazy. And the only way out is to reach into that tool and resource bag I've built over time and start putting that ladder back together one piece at a time. You know, and it's slow, it's ugly, it's gruesome, but that's the purpose, right? Because the most dangerous part about the rabbit hole is that it feels safe. It doesn't scream, crisis, 911, help me. No, it's not screaming at all down there. It's very quiet and peaceful, just like I like it. No ringers are on, as I disclosed earlier. There's more of a whisper. It whispers down there. It says, just stay here. It's easier. It's safer. We got snacks and Netflix. Cool, right? Until one day you look up and you realize that this phase has became a pattern. The hole started to feel like home. And a day turns into a week, turns into a month, turns into half a year, turns into a year, turns into a half a decade, turns into a lifetime if you let it. But here's what I've learned. The goal isn't to never fall back in. It's to spend less time there each time. Resilience is what I like to describe it as, but I want to notice the signs sooner, to catch myself faster, right? To stop making the rabbit hole a leased apartment with all of the amenities and start treating it like a motel that I don't plan to stay in. Motel 6 energy, roaches. No. But yeah, essentially that's the picture I want to paint, right? But that's been the mission lately. Not to avoid the fall, but to really master the climb. To get to the other side. Because what does the other side look like? Now let's talk about the other side. Because yeah, the rabbit hole is real, but so is the version of me that's thriving, right? And when my therapist asked me what life looks like when I'm not in the rabbit hole, of course, that's why I had to stop, like actually pause, because nobody ever really asked you to name your best self. No one should have to ask you. We just need to get more. Yeah, you know where I'm going with that. But long story short, no one ever asked you to name your best self. It's more so like, tell me about what you're going through, basically. Not tell me about what your life looks like when you're not going. I need to start doing that though. Like when someone comes to me and venting is like venting or talking about like something negative with themselves or their lives. Like I just need to like hear them out, but also ask them like, tell me something, tell me a positive story now. Like let's get some good chemicals flowing through our brains. To, kind of like cancel out all this trauma, because you can, happy thoughts cancel out the sad ones, right? Not really. I really don't know. I'm not a trained licensed therapist. I'm just thinking out loud. But having to pause because nobody ever really asked you to name your best self. So I had to sit with that, and I did. I sat with it. And I started to list it out, right? I'm at my best when I'm eating clean, when I'm cooking more and Uber eating less, when I'm creating and I'm not just consuming. That's really important for me. That's really, really important for me. I almost get fear of missing out when I am not being creative in some way. But when I'm recording, writing, designing, putting energy into things that give something back, when I'm moving my body, lifting, walking, getting outside, sweating out whatever's been like, sitting in my chest. I'm at my best when I'm, praying and meditating in the morning, just manifesting my day and not just letting the day run me. Listening to podcasts that feed me, TED Talks, spiritual stuff, educational stuff, cooking content that sticks to my bones, literally, not stuff that slides off my brain in 2 seconds. I'm at my best when I'm taking care of me. Skincare, clean clothes, clean space. It's not about being perfect, clearly. It's about being intentional, right? Actually making it a point. And the biggest difference when I'm on the other side, I'm not running from life. I'm actually showing up for it. Because when you're nourished, you're not just surviving, you're it's like you're available to live. And here's the wild part. When I'm on the other side and I think about those rabbit hole habits, they don't even tempt me. Like, I don't feel the urge to watch a bunch of TV. Actually, instead, on the other end, I catch myself thinking, damn, I need to schedule some time to do that. I'm actually missing out on shows I want to see. I can look at the most unhealthiest, calorie-filled, sugar-packed, sweet treat. I want a cookies and cream milkshake so bad, but I've been like, I was just on vacation and ate insane amounts of food. And food groups that I haven't touched in years. But anyways, it's a no. But I'll just look at I'll look at that shit and I'll think, oh, that looks good. And then I just keep it pushing because I'm able to indulge with balance. I'm able to eat intentionally, not emotionally. I'm a very big emotional eater. Like, fuck talking about my problems. Give me a 6-pack of donuts. Like, let's eat this shit. Let's eat these problems away. Temporarily, of course. Not really temporarily. People always say that like food only lasts for so long, but judging by the scale, it sticks around a lot longer than we'd like to admit. But anyway, it's like a switch that flips in my brain. The same things are out there, but my mind sees them differently, right? And what I'm working on right now is identifying those triggers that pull me back toward the hole. We'll talk about that in another episode, actually. But I'm paying more attention to those, the shifts, like especially in the winter. I don't know about y'all, but for me, that's when the slide really starts. Like, I deal with seasonal affective disorder, and let me tell you, it's a real thing. I tend to naturally fall into this rabbit hole that time of the year. Like, there's just so much about it. But now I try to prepare, set up systems, build routines, stock my toolkit before the weather even changes. Because if I know the pattern, then maybe, just maybe, I can change the outcome. The mental diet, right? We talk about diets like they only apply to food. But I'm here to tell you, your brain is eating too. And a lot of us are on a steady diet of negativity, comparison, gossip, self-doubt, and just scrolling and wondering why you just feel so spiritually constipated. Like, I've been there. Trust me. I used to spend hours feeding myself stuff that didn't serve me and then wondering why I felt like shit. TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. It was like I was binging stimulation with no actual nourishment. Like, you start asking yourself, is this making me feel full? Or is it just making me feel numb? But just like junk food, it feels really good going down. But after a while, it started to show up in my body. But instead of like weight gain or bloat, because it did that too, but it also showed up as lack of motivation, lack of hope, feeling unsettled, feeling overstimulated, but also under-inspired, just overthinking, and all of this like distorted self-talk. Like, you ever catch yourself thinking stuff that ain't even your voice? Like, that's what happens when you consume too much without filtering anything. It's not always about comparing yourself to other people now. Like, that's not it. Sometimes it's just about getting distracted from who you actually are. It's like, are you even thinking about, are you even thinking your own thoughts right now? Or are you just repeating the last 14 videos you scrolled? The diet isn't just what you eat. It's what you watch. It's what you listen to. It's who you follow. And what you let sit in your mind long enough to start sounding true. And the wild part is, sometimes you don't even realize how bad your diet is or was until you clean it up. Just like when you eat clean for a few days and your body goes, oh wait, I don't have to feel like this all the time. Your mind does the same thing. It's kind of like leaving the TV on in the background all day. You know, after a while, you start humming the commercials without even realizing it. You know, like 1-800-2300 Empire today. Was that two different commercials on top of each other? Yeah, I get the point. But like, you just start humming the commercials without even realizing it. The same thing goes for your mind. You might think you're tuned out, but your brain is always picking up frequencies. And if you're not careful, those background noises will soon turn into your inner voice. And then once you start feeding it things that align with who you're trying to become, you start to become that person faster. Simple stuff. It really is simple stuff that just like, I don't know, like, so smart and just so naive at the same time. Such is life, the human condition. But that's why I'm so protective of what I consume now. Really protective of what I consume now, because I'm not just feeding my mind for the sake of feeling good. I'm feeding it because my life depends on what I believe. So how do you spot the spiral faster? So here's where I'm at right now. I'm not trying to never spiral again, like I said. I'm just trying to spot it sooner, to identify. That's the new mission. Because the spiral is usually silent at first. You don't knock on the door. It starts small. It doesn't kick in the door. It starts really small. I start sleeping a little more than usual, right? I stop caring about what I'm eating. I get messy. Mentally, I stopped answering text messages. More than I don't already. I stopped posting creative stuff. Next thing you know, I let a week go by without even touching a goal. None of those things alone are that deep, right? Intended. But together, that's a pattern. And once I spot it, then I have to be real with myself, and I have two options. I've got two options. First one, ignore it and sink further. Turn the TV up, get more snacks, find a new show, cancel plans, turn my phone off, put my phone on Do Not Disturb. Just sink deeper into that rabbit hole. 6 months goes by. Now I'm up. Got this burst of energy, and I realized it wasn't that bad to begin with, and now I'm pissed off at myself because I let 6 months go by and I haven't made any progress towards my dreams and my goals. But then I can look back at that time and just think about like all the other things that I did with and for people, and then I get mad and angry all over again, but realizing I just did that because I had no boundaries there. Even though I was down and out, I just still showed up, but then didn't show up for myself. And then I get irritated because then I look in the mirror and I say, well, you're the only person that you have to blame for this. So let's just do better next time. And then history repeats itself. So I'm here to stop history from repeating itself. So option one really isn't it. So option two, you pause. You grab a tool, reach into that bag. Maybe that tool is going for a walk. Maybe it's, I don't know, taking a shower, putting on some new clothes. Maybe it's opening a window. Maybe it's opening a note in my phone and just dumping whatever's on my mind. Maybe it's going to the gym, even if I feel weak. Maybe it's calling my therapist and saying, hey, we got an issue. Maybe it's putting on that playlist that, you know, like snaps me out of that headspace. It's not about having the perfect response. It's about having any response that breaks the loop. think like I take a leadership principle into my life here, and I was taught very early into leadership, very very early, that the worst decision that you can make is not making one at all, and that is something that I just always stand by in life. In general, the worst decision that you can make is not making one at all. Like, that's scary for me. Like that's top 10 fear of mine. But having a response that breaks that loop is important, because when you're in the spiral, time feels weird. Like, you lose track of days. You think you've only been down for a week, but then you look up and it's been a month, a year, maybe the winter, a whole season. So I'm learning to check in with myself before I get lost, because sometimes that just means asking, when's the last time I felt good? How do you feel right now, even? Or even better, what's the last thing I did that made me feel good on purpose? If I can't answer that, I already know I'm slipping. I already know. Call the cavalry, call the therapist, call the support, call everybody, call myself. Get out the house, go do something. But that's when I start to rebuild the ladder. That's when I start rebuilding the ladder, one rung at a time. Because maybe I can avoid the fall, but I can start climbing sooner. But I mean, I'll be honest, this isn't something I even fully trust myself to do alone, right now at least, which is why I have safeguards, right? I've learned that talking about where I'm at helps me notice my own warning signs. And for me, the best place that I do that is in therapy, because my therapist holds me very accountable, like very uncomfortably accountable sometimes. If I say I want to hit a goal and a month goes by with no movement, she's not just going to smile and nod. She's going to say, hold on, pause. Let's pause. What's going on? Why are you stuck? And then make me answer that. So, and that process, that pause, and then that breakdown, that's what makes me feel confident that when the going gets tough, I've got a system to catch myself. I'm not relying on vibes. I'm relying on structure. And that is important for me. And listen, like I talked about this in the last episode, but knowing who your people are matters, right? Do you have a friend that you can check in with? Not to dump, not to dump, not to dump, not to be a burden, but just to say, hey, here's where I'm at. Here's what I'm doing about it. Somebody who's emotionally intelligent, who pays attention, who's got the audacity to call you in, not out, not call you out, but call you back in. Maybe that's a friend. Maybe that's a therapist. Maybe that's you with a journal. But whatever it is, I just hope that everyone has their safeguard. Or multiple, plural. Because this life, it gets loud, man. It gets really loud. And if you don't have a system to help you stay grounded, it will sweep you under. Fast. So, if you hear nothing else I said today, hear this. Your life isn't always shaped by what happens to you. A lot of times, it's shaped by what you feed your mind about what happens to you. And just like your body will respond to what you eat, your mind will respond to what you consume. So pay attention to your mental diet, because you might be hungry for peace, but you're only eating panic. You might be craving purpose, but you're filling up on comparison, distraction, self-doubt. So this week, I'm going to ask you to pause just for a moment and ask yourself, what am I feeding myself right now? And is it actually nourishing me? because I'm telling you from experience, the right thought at the right time can be more filling than any meal. And with that being said, this has been Food for Thought. Thank you for listening to another episode of It's Not That Deep. Again, you can find me on social media, at any social media, at It's Not That Deep Jermain. I'm on YouTube. You can see the videos of the podcast. You'll also be able to see the podcast videos on Spotify. Only problem with the podcast videos on Spotify is that I can't upload them until the episode is actually out, because I don't produce my podcast through Spotify, and they don't allow you to like see your episodes before they actually come out on the platform. So I have to do it once they come out. But videos are available on YouTube. I have a conversation forum link in my IG handle. Have a website coming soon. Have some merch coming soon. Just want to say thank you for everyone who has tuned in. Every message that I've received, all of the feedback that I've gotten has just really given me so much joy in this season. And I just feel really happy and accomplished and just proud to be here and to have these conversations. And although I'm sitting in front of a camera, I know I'm sitting in front of an audience right now. So if you're out there, thank you so much for being here, and thank you so much for listening to this little podcast called It's Not That Deep, and hearing me talk. It means more than you could probably ever know. And with that being said, I will see you guys all in the next episode. Until then, like I said, take care of yourself. Be the best version of you, for you, specifically you.